Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show, where we go across country and travel the world with members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. Let's go. So welcome, everyone. You know, every second Tuesday, second Friday, and third Monday, we get to chat with members of the International Food, Wine, and Travel Writers Association. And one of them is Jo Clark. In fact, that's how we met Jo. She's a travel writer. She has a podcast on Big Blend Radio called Jo Goes Everywhere. That's how you can find her on Instagram. And on Sunday, she debuts her magazine. So this is a fun time. But today she's going to talk about her culinary adventures in Lafayette, Louisiana, the happiest place in America, right, Jo?
That's what they say, and I think they may be right. I mean,
Yeah.
they've had two different magazines. Even the Wall Street Journal says that they are the happiest city in America.
Wow.
You can't argue with WSJ.
Did you feel happy when you were there?
I did. I hesitate because, of course, I got there, and the next morning is when I had the eye issue begin with a detached retina. So I was not real happy the whole time, but they made me as happy as I could be with an eye issue. Everybody there helped me. I went to a big, huge festival, and people were making sure I stepped over tables and didn't trip on curbs. Everybody wanted me to have a good time and enjoy everything there was to enjoy, and I did.
I think Lafayette is about that. And I love Louisiana. You know, Nancy and I keep going back. In fact, we'll be back in Louisiana in a few days.
Oh, I'm jealous.
You should be. It is because
Well,
it is.
I'm kind of on the way. I could meet you in Greenville and you could pick me up and I could just go with you.
I know. We're going to have Boudin somewhere. Now, you got to have Boudin in Lafayette.
We did.
Did you like Boudin?
Yeah, the Boudin balls were good.
Oh, yeah, the balls. Okay. Because it could be like the sausage. They do whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah, the sausages, the smoked sausage, everything was good. And I was afraid that things would be way too hot and spicy. I guess I'm more used to Mexican food and, the peppers and jalapenos and things that I can't handle because I'm a wuss. You know that about me.
Oh, no.
I'm a wuss, and they say, oh, well, you just have to drink milk with it. It cools you down. Well, I'm lactose intolerant. There will be no milk drinking here.
How about a margarita?
Yeah, but see, that doesn't cool you down much. That's the problem. They tell you should be drinking milk, and I can't do that either.
When I drink a margarita, I just feel like I am hotter than hot.
That's it. I get hotter and hotter with the margarita. But I was happy in Lafayette. I can't wait to go back because there's lots of things I miss, lots of things that I did that I'd like to do again. It was fantastic.
Well, I know you've got a great article, and everyone that is linked in the episode notes. So check that out. And the article really focuses on the culinary side of Lafayette. So you're going to give us a taste of that. We're going to touch on it today. So we talked about Boudin. Now that is something that is known in that region, right? So that is that. I mean, they have Boudin wars, and this is like a sausage with rice, and it's just a little bit different, than regular sausage.
Yeah, they have smoked, they have the barbecued. When you get into the sausages, they have places that do nothing but sausage, chicken, and beef and pork and other things. So then you get into the battles with the Cajun food or the Creole food, whether there's tomatoes in it or not tomatoes in it. There's all kinds of arguments that go on in a good-natured way. There is a Cajun food tour, like a party bus, which
Tell us about that, because isn't that a good way for everyone to get acclimated before
where a food tour anywhere you are is always fun and a good idea, and you get little tastes of things and you move on to other places, and the person leading your tour is giving you some history, some food and culinary history, and so you're learning your way around the city, and you're learning about the culture and the background of the area. And Marie was fantastic. She kept us on track, kept us on task, had that party bus rocking, has a refrigerator in the party bus, so if you have leftovers at one of your stops or buy something, there's a place to put it. You don't have to worry about not picking something up because you don't have a refrigerator. You do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's thought of everything. There's a refrigerator full of water. Ice waters are always on hand, and she's at the wheel telling you she's multitasking because she's driving from point A to point B and telling you where we're going, what we're going to eat, and what we're seeing along the way before we get there. She has
Ah,
a
cool.
real talent for telling the stories and weaving the history of the area into her stories. It's a blast, and she has more than one tour. We did about a half a day tour, but she has an all day tour. She has a walking tour. She will customize a tour if you have. I think it's a group of 10 or more. You just tell her, we want to do a state park for 2 hours, and then we want to go and eat this kind of food for the next 6 hours. She's got you.
Oh, that is so cool. Because I think Louisiana, like I always think it's like its own country because it really is
Right?
really
You need a
authentic.
passport.
Yeah, but you don't. And hey, Tabasco sauce comes from there.
That's it. International food sensation. Tabasco sauce comes right out of
Yeah.
Louisiana, right up
And
the
right out to
road.
and Avery Island, right there in Lafayette, which is really cool that people can tour. But the other part is, I think their food is so important to talk about, and going on a tour gives you that cultural backbone because Lafayette and Louisiana eat by the seasons more than any place I know. They
You're
truly
right.
do. They're
You're
like, oh, it's
right.
crawdad season, crawfish season, it's this season.
Yep.
And they go like they don't go spring, summer, fall. It's this season.
It's fish season.
That's it.
Is that
And yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's always season in Louisiana, but
yeah, I think they're always in season.
they really and so getting the cultural understanding of what you're eating is really
Right.
understanding the people.
And that in itself
Yeah.
is a story. The Creole and the Cajun, you're talking French, you're talking African,
Mm.
you're talking Native
And Native American.
Americans.
Yeah.
Then once that core got developed, now you have Asians moving in and Thai, and you've got people from all around the world moving in. And I went out and had sushi one night on my own, and fantastic place, just wonderful sushi, and they
Mm.
had that Cajun bite to it. So even though I'm eating Japanese sushi that I'm familiar with and sashimi, I wasn't familiar with this because it had that Cajun spice to it. They incorporated that, and it's just a real melding of flavors.
That's interesting, when you think about it. Yeah. So you do all that. You're getting this global fusion in
Right?
Lafayette. Do you think having eaten po' boys, we could talk about jambalaya, gumbo, all of those wonderful things, all these restaurants you went to, live music, festivals. Do you think because they're keeping their culture intact, but also merging cultures, that makes it the happiest city?
Probably. That probably
Mhm.
has a lot to do with it, and I mean, who wouldn't be happy with Zydeco music playing in the speaker and all kinds of
Yeah.
spicy crawfish to eat?
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Hey, I'm all in it. I'm all in.
Yeah. And
So,
there's a
hey,
there's a NPR radio station affiliate there in town, so everybody is playing KRVS. A couple of the restaurants that we went to had that on their speakers in the restaurants, so they're
and they're
playing
playing
Zydeco,
authentic music.
they're
Did
playing
I ever tell
Creole
you
and
about our first soiree in Louisiana with that radio station that you're talking about?
no, I don't think so.
We were going to Lake Charles and took some back roads. We were actually on our way to Florida, but did a stop and we were coming back from Florida. That's right. And stopped in Lake Charles for a couple days and went through Lafayette. and then took some back roads because we're early. And we like to detour. And we
Mhm.
detoured. And we'd never really stopped and really spent time in Louisiana. We did a little thing in New Orleans, but like going out the outskirts and everything and driving the back roads and people are catfishing and there's like, fish fry Friday or whatever on like community doors and community club doors. And we're in like the backwoods, of Southwest Louisiana. And I'm always looking to find local radio stations. It's very difficult, but in college towns and those areas you can. And that's exactly what happened. And we were actually going to check into a casino. And so, which was like night and day of what we were doing. They had found over like the universe because it was run out of the university there, or the
Yeah.
college in Lafayette, and I think it's the same channel. So when I was reading your article, I got all excited, and I wasn't ready to check in. I'm just going, this is like a whole. This is where I'm like, this is a whole different country. I love it here. I could move here, kind of feeling. And they had found an archive of 100-plus-year-old swamp pop music, like the
Wow.
old archives, and started playing them one by one. They're like, we found these in the attic, dusted them off, and started playing them. And not, this hadn't been played for a while, like years. And we're driving through, and it feels like nothing had really changed in some of the areas we were driving through. And we were just like, this is the best thing ever. It was such a sense of place and you're seeing someone fishing and you're hearing the swamp pop. And I'm like, wow, this is, it was like a National Geographic moment. I can't explain it. So that music is
You
such
had
a
the
big
right
part of it.
soundtrack.
Yeah. Do you understand what I mean? Like going
Yep.
in and it
Yeah.
just set and then we had a really good time. Southwest Louisiana is amazing because it's got nature, it's got food and good people, good art, good music, good energy. And I think the whole state likes to have a good time.
And good art downtown on
Yeah.
the buildings.
So,
Behind each of us, we have murals that I took pictures of in
mm,
downtown Lafayette while I was walking the streets.
so
You know
they have
me, I'm
like
a
a
street
mural
walker.
tour. I know you are, and you like public art like we do. So was there
I
a
do.
lot of that?
There was quite a bit that I found. I was, as you know, I was limited to what I could do. It was late in the afternoon, and I didn't want to stray too far off the beaten path by myself and get lost. So, and I wanted to eat and be back in
Yeah.
an Uber at least by dark, because I did have an early morning the next day. So these were things I found between the where I took a picture of the big Lafayette letters in a
Yeah.
park where I get to be the Y
Hmm.
in the middle. Um, from that to the point of getting to this restaurant, the Japanese restaurant, I found these and several others that I took pictures of. So they were this was in the historic downtown area. So it was a lot of
Awesome.
fun. And everybody's so friendly and nice. I had met 2 or 3 people that when we would stop at a crosswalk and have to wait and I've never met a stranger and I was in the South, so they've never met a stranger either. So soon as I asked, where's a place down here that has a really good happy hour? They say, "Oh, you're not from here," because I don't have that Louisiana accent, but I was understandable. So they started rattling off the names of some of their favorite restaurants, and that's how I found the Japanese sushi place. Was a couple said, "We went there last night, and tonight we're going to Vestal." And I said, "I ate at Vestal last night, so I'm going to your Japanese place tonight." So
Oh,
I told them what to eat at Vestal, and they told me what to eat at Japanese place
wow. Wow. See,
while we
I love,
waited for a light to change.
oh, wow. See, I love this. I love this. So you got to have Asian food like you were talking about, but then also jambalaya and gumbo, you got to have that?
I did. I had jambalaya, I had gumbo, I had fried alligator, I had
Po'
fish,
boys,
po' boys, shrimp
which are
po'
like
boys.
sandwiches. We should explain that. Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
a,
they're called poor boys some places, po' boys some places, BOI instead of BOY
oh,
some places. You see the spelling a lot of different ways in different areas, but Most of the places there, it's
Mhm.
PO-BOY, so po' boy, just a big solid chunk of French bread, and just a
Mhm.
loaf, not a loaf. I guess you could
Well, it's
get
like
that.
a sub sandwich, Subway sandwich kind
It
of
is,
thing.
it's like a sub or a hoagie, but it's
Yeah.
the sub, kind of a French bread type bun that is split, and they will fill it. Of course, they've got suggestions at all the places. They have a list of what they'll put in it for specific titles. If you want a shrimp po' boy, it's going to come with shrimp and shredded cabbage or slaw,
Mhm.
tomatoes, pickles, whatever they'll tell you what all comes in it,
Mm.
including cheese and some places even gravy. So you pick what you want, or it's like two from column A and four from column B. You can make your own choices of what you want in your po' boy. Andouille sausage mixed with the shrimp, that was good. I like the crawfish etouffee. I never did find one made the way I had one out in the bayou 20 years ago when I was passing through that area. I had crawfish etouffee with a puff pastry top, and my mouth still waters when I think of that one dish.
Mm.
We talk all the time about how food takes you back when you think about certain foods, or you
Mhm.
smell or taste certain foods. That's one. I guess I'll search for that one. I've tried to recreate it at home. I've tried making it, and it was okay, but it was not what I had in that restaurant. So I'm still striving to
Yeah.
make that crawfish etouffee with the puff pastry. So if
Now,
anybody has that recipe, send it my.
well, yeah, because you have recipes.travelculture.com. People should know that. And also haveglasswilltravel.com. So that's the glass for for the camera and the glass for the wine. And
Right.
so you had wine while you were there. So this was all part of the International Food Wine Travel Writers Association conference that happened in October 2025. Say IFTWA. And Joe, you've been a member there for what? A few years. That's how I met
Oh,
you.
yeah,
Four or
I've been a
five?
member of IFWA at least 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is like the second conference that you've been to? Third?
Well,
You did?
maybe the 4th. Yeah, maybe the 4th.
Excuse me. Slap on
Yeah,
my wrist. Yeah.
I know it's adding up. Time
Yeah.
flies. Time flies
Well,
when
this
you're
one,
busy
this was
eating and
cool.
partying.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's really cool, these conferences for everyone to get together and meet each other and all of that. And there's also speakers and there's
Yep.
learning stuff. I know
Yep.
you missed part of it because of what happened with your eye, but it's really cool for me to think about you being there, right? And getting all these different flavors and foods when you're from South Carolina. And a lot of people will maybe go, the food's going to be similar because it's all the South, Southeast. I'm going to say no,
No,
it's not. There's
the
some
ingredients
similarities,
the ingredients are similar, but the recipes are not. I mean, yes,
right?
we have fish and we have shrimp and we have crab and we have okra,
And
uh,
rice, that's what
and
Louisiana has rice, yeah.
and Louisiana and maybe Kansas, somewhere odd like Kansas. To me, Kansas is an odd choice of places to grow rice. They are growing our Carolina Gold rice now. We still package and sell Carolina Gold rice. It is a breed of rice, or I don't know, whatever you call it, a
Yeah.
strain of rice. And it's, once you eat it, you don't want any other kind. It's delicious.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, the foods are similar in as far as the ingredients, but what they do with them is very different than the twists that the Gullah people put on them
Hmm.
in the Low Country. It's still got, ours still has that African influence, but not so much the Caribbean here as there is in
Yeah,
Louisiana.
because of the Creole
And then we have very
and the
little
French.
German. Yeah, the
Yeah.
French and the German in Louisiana. We have a French restaurant or two here and a couple of good German restaurants, but they are German restaurants.
They're not part of the
They're not
culture
low
culture.
country food with German
Yeah.
taste.
Well, they're part of the
It's not,
culture. I shouldn't have said
yeah,
that. Yeah. They're part of
definitely
it
a
because
part
they're
of the
there.
culture.
Yeah, but it's so interesting, huh?
It
How
is.
because I think Louisiana, one of the reasons to go is for the food.
Oh yeah.
And through
Yep.
that you get to understand the people and you get to understand the history of it, you know?
History and music and
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up the radio station because that's really cool when you go in to eat and you're hearing the music that's connected to the food.
And at the festival, they were there. There was a tent. The radio station had a tent, so I met some of the people from the station. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I got the card and the information about how to download it on my computer, on my laptop. There's an app for that. You know,
Oh,
there's an app for everything, but you can download an app for their station and you can find it on HD radio, or you can download it on your laptop or computer.
oh, so that way we can listen to it anywhere.
Yeah, and all that information is in the article.
Yeah.
All
Now
all
I'm
three of
in. I'm
those
in. I'll be listening. I'm
those
just a huge, huge fan of that. I was just so excited when I saw that in your articles. There were some good places that you went to. So you went
Oh
to
yes.
Pit Cooked Barbecue. This was in Johnson's. You can pronounce this.
Oh, I can't pronounce it. I was waiting for you to
Book
say it.
Book Boucanier?
Boucan
Boucanier?
Canary. I don't know.
Bon
It's
Temps
gotta have a
Grill? You went
French flair to it and,
I'm oh,
after the 4th grade.
someone shoot me over how terrible I am at French. But I was looking, you got old time restaurant, a grocery. I can put that, I can say that.
Johnson's and the Old Time Restaurant both started as grocery stores.
See, yeah.
Johnson started as a grocery store in a nearby town. And by the fifth generation, one of the granddaughters came to Lafayette and started
Oh,
the restaurant. And her husband is a pit master. So, it didn't take long for her to start making the things that her family did in the grocery store, the meats and smoked sausages and unsmoked sausages and things like that. It didn't take long for her husband, the pitmaster, to say, well, I can be making some barbecue. So now they have his barbecues, and again, it's that melding. You're bringing in the barbecue from somebody
mm-hmm,
else's recipes. Don't know where
mm-hmm.
he's from, and her family's flavors to make the smoked boudin and sausages and tasso ham. The
Oh,
tasso ham is wonderful. Oh, I could eat that every day. The salt would
mm.
probably kill me in a week, but I would give it a go.
You just drink a glass of water at the end of the week.
I drink a lot of water anyway. I'd probably be
Yeah.
fine.
You'd be fine. You'd be fine. But the grocery store part of it, grocery stores are a big part of Louisiana culture, no matter
Yeah.
where you go. And it's kind of like a farmer's market and grocery put together. There's some old mercantile stores as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
And food has always come out of them, even in gas stations. Gas
You go
station
inside
food.
and the back
Hmm.
counter's selling sandwiches.
Yeah, po' boys. You get
Po' boys.
anything fried. You want fried food? Go to
Go to
Louisiana.
a gas
They
station.
got it. They got it. They've got it. They beat anybody on fried food. Louisiana, seriously. I know we're talking about Lafayette in specific, but it is the happiest place, so they know how to do it. Now, Minami. Oh, that was the Japanese
Mini-me,
restaurant.
like a mini-me, like
Minami.
mini
Okay, so that was the
mini-me.
Japanese restaurant you
That's the
went to.
Japanese place. Yeah.
Oh,
They celebrated their 1 year anniversary of being open in November. So
ah,
they were just coming up on their 1 year when I was there in October.
so the other part too is you got to meet the lady Kristen who was behind the Jambalaya Girl New Orleans food products. And
Yes. And
see,
she's a hoot.
that's
Yeah. She and her family were putting together pots of food to feed people in, I think, in different crises that happened. And then they started turning out they kind of got paired up somehow in doing these pots of food. They got paired up somehow with the Cajun chef Paul Prudhomme.
oh,
And so they've got the spices, and he has a company, or I guess a manufacturing facility locally that produces his spices and different things that
Oh,
he
cool.
sells. And so that same factory now produces her things when they're not producing his. So she is able to use his spices and seasonings in her
Yeah.
mixtures, developed
Yeah.
into a really interesting handshake between the two of them.
That's cool. Well, that's cool because you get to have seasonings while you're there and for the locals, but for those of us traveling out, you get to carry that
And take
this
it with you or order it. You can order it from
yeah.
her or even find her on Amazon. I was
Oh,
amazed that she's on Amazon, and I looked it up just yesterday, and she's right there. If you look up Jambalaya Girl, she pops right up.
now what about this Bon Temp's grill that you went to? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right either. Bon Temp, that is, and then apparently you got some good, gumbo, there's sausage, boudin, alligator.
Yeah.
But what's going on with we were talking about bread pudding when we met you the other day in person. We finally got to meet Joe in person. I
Yes,
told
we
her
did.
we'd do it. We
Finally
did.
made it.
Yeah, you were talking about bread pudding. So
I
you love
was.
bread pudding, and you said when you have a good bread pudding, you never go back, but it has to be the good bread pudding. Was this a good bread pudding?
I have no idea. I ate
Oh,
so much. I didn't know they had it on the menu. And we had alligator, we had chicken and sausage gumbo with this huge pile of rice.
oh,
And I had gorged myself when we were running out of time and starting to kind of clean
oh
up
yeah.
and hurry up and finish up what you're
Get
eating.
back on the
And
party bus.
yeah, get back on the party bus. And I went, but, but what about dessert? And that's when my eyes fell on the dessert section, and there was Banana Foster's bread pudding, which
So
I
now
did
you have to
not
go
get.
back.
So,
You have
see,
to.
that's why you need to pick me up next week, and I'll go back with you for my bread
Okay.
pudding.
Okay. Now, the old-timey grocery store. So that was also the po' boy thing, which I think is really good.
And the story there is cute too. The
Mm.
fellow that owns this, he's owned it now since 1982. But in 1982, he was a little past his teenage years, 23 on the day he bought the grocery store. He was, I guess he grew up in New Orleans and he had worked in restaurants and he was, I don't know, peeling potatoes, I believe. He was doing something I can picture. I can picture in the story he was doing something with a knife and they told him he was too slow. He needed to speed it up. And he stuck that knife into the table and said, I quit. I'm never going to work in a restaurant. This is not for me. So now he owns one. That'll teach you to say I'll never do it. But he bought this grocery store that had, of course, canned goods and produce and 5
Mhm.
shopping carts. And he bought it on his third birthday, signed the papers. At 3 o'clock, he ran to the bank that afternoon to get money for change. And by 5, he was back in the grocery store and had opened and was selling and immediately started making po' boys. And he started out selling about 10 a day. He made about 10 po' boys, 10 to 15 on a busy day. And now he makes easily 100 a day. And that's probably a slow day. We were there.
Wow.
Yeah, we were there for about an hour. I know that, and he was the only employee when he opened, of course. The morning we were there, I know I counted 8 workers that I could see behind the different counters and the meat counter and the cooks. And I saw at least 10 sandwiches going out the door. And that was like 10:30 in the morning. This wasn't even the
Wow.
beginning of the lunch rush. He's made a real success of his po' boys. That was his goal, to make the best po' boys.
Ah, wow. Wow.
And
So
he's doing
that's
it.
a cool story. That's such a cool story, you
Yep.
know? Now, what about the bakery? Poupart's
Ooh,
Bakery? Am I saying
ooh,
that right?
ooh. I would say Poupart.
Now, this
Poupart.
is where you had
Mhm.
king cake?
We had king cake there and
Oh,
cookies, Halloween cookies, because we were there in October. So they already had witch cookies and just, they had me at cookie.
yeah. No, no macarons.
The king
No
cake was
macarons.
just,
Did you find any macarons?
I did finally get macarons on my last night at the closing ceremonies and dance and dinner for our IFWTWA conference, we had these gorgeous little clear plastic boxes tied with burgundy
Mm.
satin bows, and inside were little stacks of macarons. And I went, they knew I loved them. I know that's why they didn't
You
have them,
went
but I
just,
told myself that
and she went to the conference knowing they knew that and that they will fulfill.
I trusted that I would have my macaron fix. Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. I just
But
had to ask because I mean you got to think they're French over there, so I'm like,
yeah,
they got to have this. They got to have this. But the
right.
bakery sounds good. I mean
60
the king
years.
cake. Wow, 60
60.
years.
They're doing something right if they've been
Mm,
selling cookies and king cake and Mardi Gras king cake.
wow. Now
60
what about
years.
Prejeans?
Prejean.
Okay, so I want to apologize to everyone in Lafayette for how I'm pronouncing this. And the best way for me to
And
learn
me.
how to pronounce this
You-
to go there and spend time with
yeah.
everyone and I'll remember it.
Even though I was there, I don't get it all right. I get a
Well,
few of them.
maybe you didn't have enough margaritas or Bloody Marys. They apparently make good Bloody Marys for Zydeco brunch.
See, and I didn't have a brunch.
Well, you got to go back.
I keep telling you that. I gotta
Hmm.
go back.
So,
Everywhere I go, I say that.
but this
I need
is,
at least 2 weeks anywhere I go because 5 or 6 days just gets me to places
mm,
that say, "Ooh, and have you been there? Have you been
yeah,
there?" And I go, "No,
exactly.
I just now heard about it, and I'll leave tomorrow."
Well, this is a place so that you had alligator, right?
I did. I had Prejean alligator and red beans and rice, which that one really did remind me of home because we have red beans
Hmm.
and rice here. Not fixed the same way though.
Different.
Yeah,
See, that's
again,
the thing.
that's that different touch
I love that
twist.
though. I love that. And so they were doing gumbo, what was smoked duck, gator. They were
And
doing it differently.
they had at least three different ways. They had the smoked sausage, and I guess they probably had chicken, and then they had smoked duck. And
Wow.
again, 40 years in business. I mean, we weren't going to
Wow. So
places
these
that
are
been open
institutions.
5 years. These are people that have been, I mean, what is it? The statistic is like half of restaurants close within
Yeah.
the first year to 2 years, and 75% of the remaining restaurants close within the next five. I
Well,
mean,
then you can also think after COVID, and then,
yeah,
we've had all
huge
kinds of ups and
numbers.
downs. And then even if the ones who made it through COVID, like 2, 3 years later went, okay, I'm done. I'm tired now.
Right,
So
right.
it's like,
It took so much out of them to stay afloat during COVID.
okay, so let's talk about wine and cocktails. So the wine we want to talk about is wine that comes from Texas that came to the conference. But we want to touch on that because Texas and Louisiana, they're buddies. Texans come
Right.
over, especially over the southwest portion of Louisiana. They like to
Yep.
gamble because they can't gamble in Texas. There's no gambling casinos in Texas. So they get to come
Or
over.
South Carolina.
Oh, well then,
See,
right?
we have to get out in the water.
Oh, yeah. Well, they used to do that. Now it's kind of changing, I think. But anyway, Texas and Louisiana, I mean, they were at one time together in history, but we're not going to get into all that because I'll get myself wrong somewhere. And some historian who knows what they're talking about will yell at me. So, but there's a good connection. So I love that they've got these wines over. So these were wild wines. You had
Oh no, Wild Child
a
Wines
wild child. So this sounds
Wild
like
Child
mine.
is a shop in
Uh-huh.
Lafayette. They are not Texas wines. They are imported from all over the world. They probably have some Texas wines, but Wild Child imports tinned fish like smoked oysters, tuna pate, sardines, smoked salmon. They import all these taste treats and they import wines.
Remember you telling me about this, being very excited about this,
Oh,
being very different.
it, it was different. It was so tasty. My experience with tinned anything before I went to Portugal, when I went to the Azores, we had
Hmm.
some tinned, hmm, some kind of tinned fish. It escapes me at the moment. What? Oh, tuna. tinned
Okay.
tuna. We had tuna. Um, they export a tremendous amount of tuna. Wild Child, other than that one time with the tinned tuna in the Azores, the only other thing I'd had in a in a tin, is nasty sardines that weren't good and smoked oysters that were good. That was the limit of my exposure
Mm.
to such a thing. I had no idea you could get mussels and olives stuffed with anchovies and tuna pate and all these things in tins that were imported from other countries. But Wild Child brings them in, and they have wines, and you can do a wine and tinned fish pairings. You can decide what you like and get wine by the glass, and that changes by the week. So if you're crazy about one of their wines and you go back 2 or 3 weeks later, well, you may have to buy the whole bottle if they still have it, because they've moved on to a different wine. But
Wow, this is
that,
fantastic.
yeah, and I had such a refreshing cocktail there. It was vermouth, a red vermouth, which is kind of a sweet red wine with olives in it, a bit of lemon juice, and
Oh,
I'm not sure if there was anything else in it. I'm gonna have to
so
call
this
them.
was at Vestal.
No,
Vestal
this was at Wild Child.
shop. Okay.
Yeah, this was all still at Wild Child.
Wow. So
It was
Wild Child
fantastic.
knows how to rock all of it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they
Mm.
do. And then at our conference, of course, as you were saying, we had lots of Texas wineries came to the conference and brought cases of their wines. So we had wine tastings during our meetings where they talked about each of their wines and how it was produced and why one Pinot Noir or Grenache tasted
Mm.
different from another one because of where it was planted. So, you get a little bit of wine education at the same time as you get
Very cool.
to taste wine.
I love that because there's just so much to viticulture. Mm.
Yes, it is.
You
It's
know,
so interesting what a difference something can make.
just
Like
by the
whether,
sugar, by the
or the salt,
season,
if
oh,
by,
just,
by being near the sea and getting that salinity. Interesting.
yeah.
And you
Uh,
mentioned Vestal. Vestal's a fairly new restaurant. They have this fantastic chef, Sullivan Zant, and he came and spoke at one of our conference days. So we have all kinds of speakers that talk about food and
mm.
the style. He has a cooking style and uses live fire techniques in the restaurant. So it just was really, really neat. And Vestal is in an old building that, this is all in
Mhm.
historic downtown. It ended up being very near the Japanese restaurant that I went to,
Mm.
Minami, and then Vestal was just down the street. Vestal is in what used to be Antlers, and Antlers was the oldest bar in Lafayette. So it's pretty cool that they didn't tear down the building. They've got made it a
Nice.
restaurant.
And put in a cocktail lounge. Well, a cocktail bar, right? That's important.
Yep, it is. The
That
restaurant should have a cocktail bar.
and a wine cellar
Definitely a wine.
and maybe a little, beer garden.
You need to
You know,
design restaurants. Your talents are being wasted on the radio. Isn't that
well, we
right?
have a whole other podcast coming up on that. Yeah, we're in planning mode here. We're in planning mode. So that's a fun thing here on Big Blend Radio. You'll hear more
You
from
never know what
IFWTWA
you'll
on
hear.
this as well. Yes, exactly. But I'm so glad you had a good time. So now the festival was the festivals, Acadians, Creoles. What? It's a Cajun and Creole music
Yeah,
festival.
Cajun Creole
Mm.
Festival.
Oh
Yep,
man. See, that's the way.
3 days.
This is the true eat, drink, and be merry show. Really?
It is. They have
And
two
everyone, this
huge
is also
stages
on
with
our Eat,
live
Drink, Be
music
Merry podcast.
nonstop.
Yeah.
Yep. They
See,
had
they have a
tents.
good time. Hmm.
Yep, they had tents all throughout the whole festival grounds, like this huge fairground. And lots of the tents were food, some were art, some had other people playing music. And then anchored by the two huge stages on each end that were playing music on raised stages. So it was from morning till dark, like
I love it.
starting at 10 o'clock in the morning and rocking until dark, dark
I love it.
30, 8,
I love
9
it.
o'clock at
So
night.
the other thing too, it got all this music, you got all this food, eat, drink, be merry, but you got to sleep
Yes.
because otherwise you're not going to make it for the party the
They
next day.
won't, yeah, and they won't let you sleep in the park in the festival
I don't
ground.
think you want to because there's also alligators
Well, that's true too.
in places.
That's true too. Yeah, we stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn, which had huge rooms set up and ready every day for our seminars to begin.
Okay.
They have a nice restaurant. They fed us. They made sure there was plenty of sweet tea. Boy, they knew a Southerner when I walked through the door. They kept me full of sweet tea.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, and they had a good selection of wine.
Oh,
Um,
well.
and king
Joe
size
goes
bed.
everywhere, but she has glass and will travel.
Sometimes that glass holds sweet tea.
Rarely, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm
Well,
just
that's
teasing.
true. Today that glass is holding sangria. Ca-
Oh,
Can you
look at
see the
that.
peaches and
Look at
strawberries in the
that. Look at
bottom?
that. Oh, she's feeling good.
I
She's
know.
she's got her own, gumbo going on in that glass. She's got the fruity gumbo, fermented fruity gumbo. It's called sangria, right? Sounds
That's
good to
right.
me. Hey, you go, girl. You go, girl. Well, everyone, Joe is back on Big Blend Radio on Sunday because she's here every second Sunday. And you're going to hear more about the world of being a travel writer, a food wine travel writer and photographer who goes across the country, around the world, and looking forward to that. But learning more about IFWTWA, go to IFWTWA.org.
Remember
Years.
5 years, more than 5 years.
Yeah. Wow. And then for Lafayette, now we encourage everyone to go to Lafayette because it is cool. It is definitely like the happiest city as we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So all the links are in the episode notes, but you can go to LafayetteTravel.com to learn more about them and plan your visit. Definitely a
And it's
destination.
only 2.5 hours from New Orleans. So it's a
Easy drive,
easy, easy drive from New Orleans, or if you're coming from
like
the other
Houston.
side of the world, you can save yourself 2.5 hours. Why go to New Orleans when you can go to Lafayette and stop?
You could do both.
You can do
You
both.
can. You can do both. I mean, come on, party. I think, the whole explore all of Louisiana. New Orleans absolutely is like a hub of entertainment and culture and music and good food, but there is more than New Orleans to the state of Louisiana. And I love exploring beyond, because there's
Yeah.
just so much. There's so much. So thank you for joining us, Joe. It is always fun
Thanks
chatting
for
with you.
having me.
All right, everybody have a good time. Let the good times roll, as they say. And cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show featuring members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We encourage you to visit their website. We say IFWTWA, which is IFWTWA.org. You can also follow us at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels, everyone!